is Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Becky Dennis. And we're going to be discussing her incredible children's book, GB, Tell Me a Story, Volume 1. Now, that's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, man, it's a lot of other places, and I'm telling you, this is one your kids are going to love. And you my parents out there, you're going to love this as well, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. Before I go any further, I want to point out the fact that Becky was brought to us by Citi of Books. So for my writers out there listening in, if you've gone through your process, you've spent some sleepless nights, and now you need some assistance moving that book you just worked tirelessly to create, head on over to citiofbooks.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Becky here on the line. People, listen, by the time we've ended our discussion here today, you are going to run and purchase copies. Not only is this book just fun, it is a great adventure for you to embark upon with your children, but I promise you, as a parent, myself, building now a future for my two young children, the importance of imagination, my goodness, it is something that is incredibly valuable and something that I don't think we spend nearly enough time discussing. This book, you see, the origin story behind it is something incredible, and I'm not going to go into too much detail of it because I don't want to rob Becky's thunder. I'm going to let her tell it, but just know that you are going to be inspired. Your children are going to love the journey that they're going to embark upon, and you're going to feel connected to them more than ever before. Sit back, strap in, and get ready. Becky, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you for being with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and thank you.
Becky, listen, it is a pleasure to have you here. I really do mean it. I think what you've comprised here not only is so fun, but I'm drawn to the origin story because it's something that I tell you ahead of time. I'm going to be transparent with you here, Becky. I'm going to steal it, okay? I'm going to do this with my children. And
you should.
I'm going to make sure we cultivate that imagination properly because you are onto something here. I'll tell you that much. Listen, before we jump into the book, Becky, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, I'm a Christian, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and I guess like most people, you have all kinds of different names and titles that go with it. I like adventure. We've lived overseas. My husband and I've been married 45 years, almost 46, and
Beautiful.
Day one, it was an adventure. I've known him since kindergarten. And
Wow.
Take that back, not kindergarten, grade school.
Listen, it's still a very long time. That's beautiful.
Oh, yes. We were best friends forever. And he's fun. He's a lot of fun. We've traveled. We've lived overseas. We've lived in Indonesia. And we lived in Dubai while they were building the Burj Khalifa. And basically we've lived in Texas. But now we're in Idaho with our grandkids.
Okay, so Becky, you must have been told this already, but I'm going to be the first to tell you here through our network. I could tell what the next book is already supposed to be. Now, Volume 2, people understand that's in creation right now, so that's the one that's next up. But after that, Becky, you got to write a story about your life. A memoir needs to be in the making. My goodness. From the love story between you and your husband, which is magnificent, and something that is straight out of a storybook, something straight out of a Hollywood film, because it just doesn't happen like that anymore. That is beautiful. But then to your travels, my goodness, I'm sure you have stories for days.
A few.
Well, listen, that's going to be for the next podcast.
You see some of the gestures to get the full extent of what we did. It was exciting, let me tell you.
I bet. Listen, that's going to be for the next discussion, and we are very much looking forward to that. I honestly do mean it. Like, I didn't bring it in just for levity. I really do mean that would be an incredible journey that I know my listening audience would
Thank
love
you.
to read about. Absolutely. Becky, but the anchor for today, listen, man, it's all about GB. Tell me a story. Let's dive in. First and foremost, let's cover that inspiration, okay? Because, again, it's something that I'm fascinated by. It's something that I think is so unique to your story, but is something beautiful that a lot of people can copy in their own and create their own memories. Talk to us about how this came to fruition.
We would be in the car. My husband would be driving, and the kids would be in the back seat. And Keegan usually, because she's the oldest, would say, GB, tell me a story. And I'd go, okay, give me characters. And she'd give me characters, and I'd make up a story. And we did that, for years.
Yeah.
And I'd always tell my sister about it. Oh, you wouldn't believe what they came up with today. It was hilarious. And I'd give her a synopsis of what I made up. And she goes, you need to write a children's book. I don't know. But one day, Keegan came up with a rabbit, a turtle, a mermaid, a dragon, a big bird, and a little girl. She wanted those characters. And so I made up a story with those characters, and she laughed. She thought it was funny, and my sister loved it. She says, you need to write that one down. So I wrote it down, and I kept it in a drawer for probably over a year, thinking one of these days I may write a children's book. Then one day I decided I'm going to do it. So I told my sister, okay, I'm going to start writing stories and getting characters from the grandkids, and then maybe making up a few of my own. I'd have characters, and I'd draw one out of a hat and draw another one and make up a story over that, because my sister was pretty demanding. She wanted a story every day. So, she liked them as much as the grandkids did.
You get no breaks.
And so finally it was like, okay, I can't do it every day. If I'm gonna do the book, I've got to edit, reword some things here. And anyway, I stepped out, leap of faith, and it seems to be doing pretty good. And I'm anxious to get the next one going, because I have developed, my writing has developed, the characters are more fun. I'm anxious to get it done.
Listen, Becky, we're anxious for you to get it done as well, because like I said, the creative process is something that I admire tremendously. And as I mentioned to you on the pre-screening call, and all my listening audiences already know this because I've mentioned this a number of times, my background initially is in filmmaking. So, I'm an actor by trade, creating films. So I live in my imagination. And what really struck me when the opportunity presented itself to have you here as a guest on our network, of course, we did research and we're looking into your book and figuring out the origin story, but it was something that truly connected to myself and a lot of my team members here through People of Distinction, because we're all artists and a lot of us come from a background of filmmaking as well. And the creation story of this, it strikes us almost like a classic improv comedy room, right? Like in improv, it's all about yes and, right? So you don't turn anything away. Whatever your partner is giving you, yes, and you build off of it. And much like in this instance, your partners were your grandchildren, and they're giving you all sorts of things. They give you a dragon, okay, yes, and you build on it. And all of these stories begin to grow and develop, and I love that concept. I want to now ask, and I think it's safe to assume, but I'm going to pose it to you. How important is a spirit of yes and, like the old comedy trope there, in crafting these rules? And how do you hope that it inspires families who are reading them?
I always wanted my kids or grandkids to use their imagination in different aspects. I think it helps you to grow. And then some of the stories help you as a child, I think, develop a sense of understanding others. In my book, I have one about a bully that is a surprise ending. And it actually helped my grandson in school with a bully.
Wow.
And then you have a way of developing your communication with other children, with adults, and then you get to see how nature can teach you. Some of my characters are animals that I have a unicorn in one. In the second book, I have a real cute one that my granddaughter wanted a octopus, a unicorn, and a bull that was a bad guy, and ice cream. And I had to have all those characters in there, plus ice cream, and I thought it turned out pretty cute.
People, again, the book is entitled GB, Tell Me a Story. Now, that's volume 1. I've mentioned it. She's mentioned it. Volume 2 is still in creation. And this is what I want you all to do, man. Listen, by the overwhelming show of support, when you head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you purchase copies of this book, that's going to be your message to Becky, like, yeah, step on the gas, because volume 2 needs to hurry up and come out. We're waiting for it. We're yearning for it. And then get back to what I was saying before. I want y'all to send her messages, find a way to communicate with her, and tell her that memoir is something we really want to hear about as well. I want to learn about Dubai. I want to see how you haven't gotten sick of your husband since kindergarten or since grade school. My goodness, there's got to be something there, I'll tell you. There are certain days
He's got a great sense of humor.
There it is. You need to have it. Laughter is the cure for everything. And I'll tell you, Becky, there's times my wife looks at me and I'm like, hey, hold on. What are you thinking about? No, I'm just playing. Baby, I love you. You know that. Becky, tired everything.
We laugh a lot.
Of course. Yeah, honestly, it really is the best medicine. And tired is back in, Becky. Going back to what you were saying before, because you're talking about the power of imagination. And letter are also able to be learned in your book. And listen, I think this is why your book is so powerful. Because listen, the journey is fun, great. The stories that are in the book are fantastic. But for my parents out there, read in between the lines. Because what we're talking about here is, A, giving your children the control, the autonomy to be able to construct their own story, is going to be building their confidence. It's going to give them much more strength in themselves to be vocal, like you mentioned, Becky, talking to adults. That's fantastic. Building on their imagination, opening their eyes to the world and what it can manifest to, I think is beautiful. But also, there's messages of teamwork, right? And there is so much to be gained here. Without being preachy, because you could, of course, tip in that direction, what do you hope that children learn unconsciously from your book about teamwork, about listening and building on each other's ideas through this process?
I think what they'll learn is that life is not all about just one person, not just them, that other people are involved, and it's beautiful. People with handicaps.
Yeah.
I have one story in my book. It's called Two Toy Army Men, that my grandson wanted a boy and two army men, a sister in an amusement park. And my army men in this story were, the toy ones, were broken. And one had a missing hand and the other one's feet were funny, and he didn't want to play with them there for a bit. But as the story develops, they became heroes. And so it helps. And kids need to know that they're not alone in some of the situations, that parents are there to listen and to laugh with them, right, or grandparents. Yeah. And that there's nothing going on in their life that you can't make a story out of. You can make a story out of a bug and a flower and a cow jumping over the moon. I mean, you just, whatever your imagination. If you want to hear a story about a tooth fairy, there's all kinds of stories that you can make out of that. And then there's stories that I like to do that kind of help them with if they're being too messy. I can put in a little story about messiness, attitudes where they don't want to listen to a parent, what could happen in a fun way. There's just little messages here and there that are fun, and not following the crowd. Think for yourself. And I think I would want them to have confidence in themselves. You have characters, your day-to-day characters that you can come up with, like my characters. When you ask me about me, I'm a Christian. That's one of my characters. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. You have all these different characters that are within you, and you can use those to make other characters, to come alive. They're your life experiences.
Becky, I'm curious to know, and listen, this has been going on for quite some time. What was the most challenging combination of characters that you ever received?
Oh, that's in my second book. Let's see. What did my granddaughter's friend came up with a panda, a mermaid, a ladybug, and I'll probably mispronounce this because I've never heard of it before, even though this kid is third grade. It's an axolotl, which is a salamander type thing that lives in Mexico, in a lake in Mexico. He came up with this word I'd never seen before, and I was looking at it. I had to look it up, and I thought, okay, let's see. Pandas kind of associated with China. Mermaids are in the ocean. I can't remember. It was just like, now how am I going to get this to work?
Let the journey begin.
I did get a story written for her for the second book. So it's funny to see how his brain works on creating character. I have one in the second book where he and my granddaughter and my husband gave us characters of let me see, there was a young girl, a bank robber. The girl had a little brother, and there had to be a grasshopper in it. So that was a cute story. It ended up cute.
I love it.
Yeah, they always put these little zingers in there to see if they can stump. I think my sister used to try to do that. She'd go, okay, do this, and just all kinds of bizarre things that you're supposed to put into a story.
Becky, it's so much fun, though. I'm telling you, people, listen, we're going to close out now, but understand that we've barely scratched the surface, okay? You know about the book. You know about the journey that you're going to embark upon. So you're going to need to head on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You're going to need to pick up copies. Remember, it's entitled GB, Tell Me a Story. That's Volume 1. Volume 2 is set up still to come on the horizon. Be on the lookout for it. You have Becky Dennis to thank for all of it. But most importantly, and I said it before, and I'm going to close out because, from my opinion, I think that this is some of the most powerful lessons to be learned here. As a parent myself, just remember, the next time your child hands you a bizarrely wonderful idea, remember that you're not just humoring them in that moment. You are holding a potential story that is going to be able to cultivate something magnificent within them. So don't shy away from it. Listen, you don't got to publish it in a book and be a great author like Becky, but this could be something that develops within your family that sets the momentum in motion. I'm telling you, there's a lot to be gained here, but it starts with this book. Head on over there and just let the stories unlock, allow the connectivity, and just have fun with it, man. Becky, this has been so much fun. I really do mean that. A wonderful journey. Thank you for embarking upon this with your grandchildren. And listen, thank you for being here with us to discuss it all through People of Distinction.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed talking to you. You do have a really great voice.